Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream with the microphone that accidentally turned itself all the way down. How are we all doing today? I'm hoping we're incredibly well. Duck season indeed, or is it Wabbit season? I don't know. But on this stream, we got a few little bits to discuss, including Leeds having seemingly 3 new fairly big targets that I think could make a pretty damn big difference to what is going on throughout both the rest of this window and throughout the season ahead. Because the season ahead is a pretty damn big one, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, first off, we're going to hop into the first of the targets that there is a little bit of eye on, because I think it's quite interesting. This one looks like a very difficult move to get done, but it's a move that if we do get done, will be genuinely very impressive. And it is Facundo Buonanotte. A report by Ben Jacobs, who is typically relatively accurate. Again, when you're talking about football transfers and stuff like that, relative is all you've got in terms of accuracy. But I think if Buonanotte is a move that we are potentially looking at, it's a pretty damn good one. However, there is low confidence in pulling off an ambitious move. It would be a ridiculously ambitious move. It's a very big one because Buonanotte is sort of known for being a very high quality player. It's the way of just getting the tweet. There we go. Especially when clubs like Borussia Dortmund have an eye on him. The main difference here between us and Borussia Dortmund is that we seemingly would be happy to just go out and do a move. On the other hand, Dortmund would apparently be knocked back by the fact that they want to do a loan to buy. That's the main difference between the two, as far as I've been able to tell. If there is a little bit more variance in that, then I don't know of it, but that's roughly what has been sort of heard and discussed specifically surrounding Facundo Buonanotte. In terms of how he'd be as a move, I genuinely think he's a ridiculously good player with a quite high ceiling. Admittedly, you might look at it and go, well, Brighton don't want him anymore, therefore is he maybe not good enough? But you've got to consider the sort of direction of that Brighton squad right now, where they are constantly buying in players and they constantly have to sell at the same time, which makes it very confusing and complicated. And if you have a look at his numbers, he is still above average when it comes to non-penalty goals and when it comes to XG. He does the defensive work really well in addition to that, and you need to account for the fact that he was playing in a side that was not very good last season. He was playing at Leicester. Leicester, according to even Leicester fans, had an absolute stinker. So I think we can sort of jot that one down to not particularly being his fault. So if I bring up the numbers, there we go. So his tackles, interceptions, blocks, clearances, aerials won are all very good, but that will be inflated by the fact that his side were playing very defensively. That was a fun hiccup. Defensively last season. And then when it comes to the attacking stats, again, above average when it comes to goals, but still not the most fantastic numbers, but it will be heavily affected by the fact he was playing at a side that weren't very attacking. On this, Elmi, Farker should resign due to the lack of recruitment. It's been awful. He said that Leeds aren't ready for the Premier League, the word of the manager. Yes. You know why he said that? Because the window isn't done yet. There's nearly a month. It's fine. We've done a hell of a lot of business. Based on, like, all numbers, data from many past windows. If I remember right, it's something like 1 in 3 transfer moves are done within the last 2 weeks of the window. If we're saying that we need 10 players in, and you expand that 1 in 3 and you call it 3 in 9, well, we've already got 7 in. So we're tracking above where we should be. Come on. Let's not take the piss and be like, Farker should leave. No, it's fine. We're okay. Let's stop developing this fake panic because things are a little bit quiet. The window isn't even nearly done yet. We're fine. When it comes to the next move, this is sort of a twofer in terms of news. So if I again do this. One of the bits is that Liverpool's Ben Doak is among the wingers Leeds have discussed. I think this one is a little bit of a not very good link. So I'm sure that he is on a list because we know that Leeds United have many lists in terms of players that Leeds are looking at. We know that when it comes to it, there will be 5 or 6 priorities for each position. You'll look at the top one, the majority of the time. In this case, probably Paixão, because we spent a long-ass time on him. Then you go to the next person on the list. If you can get them, wonderful. If you can't get them, that's okay. This is why we have a list. So in that case, you go, Paixão, no, doesn't want to come. Buonanotte, no, doesn't want to come. Maybe then El Canoes, or someone like that. As far as I am aware, Ben Doak will be one of those people that aren't at the top of the list, but are just somewhere on the list, in the event that you need a player at some point, just because that's the case. The issue with having a list is you've got a top and you've got a bottom. I think Doak is down here somewhere, with El Canoes around here, Buonanotte probably here. This little bit of news did come with a bit further information specifically surrounding Matteo Joseph, because Mallorca are looking at finalising a loan deal to sign him, which I find genuinely hilarious. I find that genuinely hilarious because Matteo Joseph desperately wanted to go to Real Betis. And the fact that he's unable to go to Real Betis is incredible. Because it's like, well, no, if you and a club conspired to try and force the club to sell you, obviously the club aren't going to send you there if they've got options. Specifically, it would be loan without a permanent option, so it's just a case of Leeds basically win this one, because we wanted to sign him, but we didn't want him to go, well, we wanted to loan him out, but not, like, permanently gone, because he's got a fairly decent ceiling. According to sources who are close to the player who spoke anonymously to protect relationships, I have a fairly good guess as to who this is, and if you are a Leeds United YouTuber, you will know who it is that I am guessing, and you will know exactly why I am guessing this person. But he has agreed to the move and is awaiting the green light from Leeds. Manager Daniel Farker said that he requested to leave, etc, etc, etc. Scroll through just to get to the latter bits. As for incomings, Leeds are continuing to pursue fullbacks, which I will get to in a minute because we've got a little bit of news surrounding the fullbacks that Leeds United are interested in. Number 10s, again, we know this with the conversation surrounding El Canoes. Wingers, we've just covered one. And strikers, which again, we know because of the ongoing saga around Muniz. And Liverpool's Ben Doak is one winger Leeds have discussed. Sources close indicate that Leeds have expressed interest in the 19-year-old. I didn't realise he was only 19. Him being 19 years of age makes it a little bit more interesting, because if you're signing a young player, then you're sort of looking at someone who is going to grow into their career and develop as a player and build and build and build and eventually become who they can be. And admittedly, we want someone that's a little bit more polished at the moment. But in terms of long term, I think Ben Doak will probably be not too bad. Liverpool rejected offers around 20 million in January and value him around the same now. If they don't receive an offer in that range, they're happy to keep him as a squad option. That's quite interesting to me, because I think keeping him as a squad option is a bit of a weird one. I think him sticking around at Liverpool sort of says that maybe he's got a little bit more quality than we think that he did. Because I've never been truly convinced by Doak. I know that there is a player there somewhere. I've never seen it myself, because admittedly, I can't be bothered watching that much Borough. Borough is... it's not great. But, yeah. I wouldn't mind looking at him after another season of potentially being rotational at Liverpool, but I think if it's... He has an expiring contract in 2026. No shot has he got an expiring contract for 2026. Surely not. Surely they're not trying to sell him for 20 million quid with 1 year on his contract. Bit of a weird thing as well. Hopping over to the Liverpool subreddit to have an eye on what they think on the entire thing. They're all saying that 20's cheap. And they want a really, really high buyback. Or a sell-on clause, which is sort of interesting. I hadn't really grasped that he had that much of a ceiling, but if he does, then that might be worthwhile. I don't know. I think it'd be good to have someone that was able to start. I wouldn't want him as the only option. But I think in the immediate term, that's probably not the worst of moves, to be honest with you. But we then have the other link that we saw surrounding... Oh, what the fuck was your name? Right back at Shakhtar Donetsk. This guy being Vinicius Tobias. I love the way that he has a very, very fun footballer name and then just Toby. Vinicius Toby. Wonderful. Spent a bit of time at Real Madrid, has been at Shakhtar Donetsk for a season, got a decent number of minutes, but seemingly is a very, very, very good player from what everyone that has watched him can see. The data from the Ukrainian league, as you can see, is not fantastic. It's fairly but 5 assists, which from that many minutes is not half bad. And in terms of playing style, he likes to roam up and down the flank, which is obviously what we're kind of looking for at the moment. I don't mind that. I think Vinicius Tobias could be a fairly good move if we are able to get it done. But if is always the question around the vast majority of this stuff, because you can never be 1,000% certain that you're going to get a move done. Anyway, I'm going to have a quick skim of the comments because I've missed them for a little bit. But the 3 players that we are linked with, being Doak, who, having gone through this stream for a few minutes, I'm now a little bit more tempted by, I've got to be honest with you. Buonanotte at Brighton, who is a winger that can play quite impressive stuff. He's always seemed like a very, very high potential player with a very, very high ceiling that can make a pretty big difference to a club, especially a club that is new to the league. And then finally the last one that was covered, which was Vinicius Tobias. What I think a lot of people don't notice in relation to what Tony has said here, being that the fan base need to realise we won't hear about most signings till the club get ready to announce, get used to drip feeds of information via content creators and stuff. To be clear, we don't get shit in terms of information from the club. In terms of information, we are getting stuff from the same sources as everyone else. We just have a little bit more of like an expertise and an experience in knowing which sources are good and which sources are bollocks and sifting through that. So in the few days that I did videos on Jer's channel, which was fantastic fun, I learned quite a lot on like what's good source, what's bad source, let's work it out. Why are Leeds keeping the yank? Who are you talking about? If you're talking about Brendan Aronson, very, very bold shout, considering he was the best player on the pitch in the friendly against Villarreal. But sure, if you want to stick with your little agenda, go for it. Go for it. Whatever. But yeah, most signings you won't really hear that much about unless they are leaked from outside. Because if they're not coming out of the club, and we know that the club like things to be a little bit on the quiet side, because then it's got to come from elsewhere. So specifically on the El Canoes thing, you can smell the reasoning that people have when it comes to like the information that's leaking out. The information that's leaking out is specifically about, this is the release clause. These are the clubs that El Canoes has an interest in and is talking to. It would be a shame if these clubs were to make a bid. So you can see that that's come out of the agent side. Everything in terms of the Paixão stuff, you could just feel like consistently that it was very, very club heavy. That it was coming heavily out of Marseille because everything was like, Marseille are going to make a move at some point, aren't they? Ooh, Marseille going in for another final bid. Isn't that nice, Igor? Igor, you want to come here, don't you, Igor? That was the entire thing around the Igor Paixão stuff. And everything that comes out is going to have some form of agenda behind it. And if it doesn't, you're not seeing it. So, like, even stuff that's like, this deal's going to be difficult for Leeds to do, that is coming out with a reason. And the reason that that is coming out the way that it is because the club are doing a little bit of expectation management. Because realistically, we're not going to get all of the moves done that we want. When it comes to people occasionally saying, like, oh, Leeds aren't getting any of their top targets, 99% of the clubs on the planet don't get their top targets. and they don't get their top targets because there are so many clubs that are looking for players in every single position that you can't just say, "We'll have that one," and they immediately come to you. It just doesn't happen. But the fact of the matter is, being with the world in the state that it is right now, it's a lot more of a sort of media age where information is more loose, information is more free, and people are finding out things like that, which means that it takes a single DM for an entire transfer story to leak. And at that point, everyone knows that you missed this key target. Whereas in the past, you would have been in for this key target, but no one found out because we weren't quite as heavily in the information age. That's the fundamental difference, I feel, between the state of affairs before and what we're dealing with now. At least off the top of my head. I don't know. At what point do we go all in for Mitoma? I think that we're doing the thing again, where we assume that because we love Leeds, everyone loves Leeds in the same way. Hold on, just gotta get a little bit comfy. Mitoma isn't going to go to a bottom-end Premier League side. Mitoma, if he goes anywhere, will be going to a Champions League club. Because, and this isn't even being, like, over-egging anything. This is literally looking at the fact that the guy wrote a dissertation on how to dribble in football. He's such a cerebral and genuinely excellent footballer that a lot of the time people will go, well, we could just sign this guy. Well, you can't just sign this guy. You can't just say, we'll go all in on Mitoma, because that doesn't mean that he wants to come to us. And again, there is this element, the bit that has just been mentioned by Rich. He's going to cost £60 million plus. I don't think 90. I think 90 is pushing it a little bit high. But he's going to be a stupidly expensive player. So if you go all in on Mitoma, in the event that he doesn't mesh with your team, and things go a little bit wrong, congrats. You've spent half a year's budget on one player, which isn't the best. So when you get relegated and you get into more PSR shit, then all you've done is make yourself a problem again. And I think we need to sort of get away from that. I think the way that we've actually approached this window has been quite clever. It's been very, how about we actually look after the finances a little bit and build in the right places, rather than anything that is more trying to force it, because that's how you end up with issues. Sly, my guy, hear me out. You are very, 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 very much going to enjoy sport more when you approach it with any approach that isn't, oh, I hope that he loses his job. Because that's a really sad way of approaching things. I'll be completely honest with you. That's a bit miserable. The fact that your entire thing is like, I hope he gets sacked. Come on. That's just you actively hoping that the team does shit for a few weeks, purely so you can be like, I told you he was bad, because that's the inevitable fate of everyone in the world of football. At some point, you're going to hit a bad run of form, whether you're a player, whether you're a manager, whatever you are. At some point, they're going to go. Every footballer will leave their club. Every manager will, again, be sacked at some point or resign at some point. The second one, a little bit less likely. They might retire, which is even less likely. But for you to go, oh, I hope there's an opportunity to sack him, that's fucking nuts. And at that point, you're not... I kind of struggle to view you as a Leeds United fan, because your entire thing is, I hope that my version of the world comes true, rather than I hope that my football club does well. It's a weird approach, and one that I have just never understood. I don't know. Jesse was sacked too early, lots were calling for his head. That season he won, I think... What streak was he on? Hold on. Leeds United, 2020... Is it 22, 23? 22, 23 season. Yeah, it's that one. Right, what match did he get the sack? 6th of February. So after that one. Where is it? Okay, cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that was after a 7-match run without any wins, and 2 wins in 17 games. And then the only team that we beat after that, the team that we beat to end that run, was Southampton, who finished bottom. Very, very comfortably bottom. And if you're including the Southampton match in a couple of games after that, it's why would you be like, yeah, Leeds were in a fantastic position there? No, he weren't. He had to go. Come on. Saying that we wouldn't have gone down under Marsch is the take that is most baffling to me in the world. Because we were just constantly losing stupid stuff. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's one of those takes that I see, and I'm like, I don't quite know how you've gotten to that conclusion. But you have, and good on you, I suppose. Jesse would have been out much sooner without that miracle win at Anfield. I think that, looking in retrospect, if you take a look at the Bournemouth and Liverpool matches and the timing that they happened, them being immediately prior to that World Cup break is what fucked us. Because if he doesn't win those games of football, he's out the door. Without a doubt. But he does, and at that point Radrizzani goes, okay, well, maybe he can get wins out of this team. Maybe now it's clicking. And he doesn't sack him until significantly later. Basically, after the window, which is the stupidest time to sack a manager. Because at that point, you have a new manager that isn't able to do anything at all with the squad. It's just daft, it's silly, it's nuts. So, yeah, I don't know. It's... If he would have gone after Bournemouth and Liverpool, that would have been kind of good for us. Because then you get a new manager in who gets the entire transfer window, who gets a month with the vast majority of their squad because of the World Cup. And they basically get a full pre-season, but that didn't happen. Which I think is a little bit of a shame. No, right, no. Sly. You don't get to say that Marsch had a bottom of the championship squad when at the same time you're saying the squad the next season, which had its best players taken out, was one that should have been promoted like that. You just don't, because you have said that about the squad that Daniel Farke inherited. Isn't it funny when your own argument argues against you? It's great. Got back from work, heard someone say that the American would have kept us up. Yeah, what you've missed is that Leeds are linked with Facundo Buonanotte, but that one could be fairly difficult. Borussia Dortmund put in a bid that is a loan to buy, but that one got rejected. There is also reportedly interest in Ben Doak, 19-year-old at Liverpool, who, having looked into him, I'm a little bit more of a, that could be a quite good signing, actually. £20 million, which is fairly on the high side, but he's got a pretty damn good ceiling. So it wouldn't be the most sort of outstanding signing, but it'd be a pretty fun one. And Vinicius Tobias, who is a Brazilian right-back that I think could be a pretty damn good player. Especially as, at the very least, a backup, but you could get some good minutes in. From what I've heard about Bogle's fitness, by the way, because I saw someone asking about it earlier, as far as I'm aware, it's more knock than long-term. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know for certain. but we'll see. I hope it's not a long one. I think it was roughly 50-50 to be in time for the start of the season. Why some people don't like Jonathan Rowe? Firstly, Jesse never got to use him. Okay, that's fine. But at the same time, Farkas squad didn't have Sinistera or Adams or any of the other rat boys that left. So why some people don't like Jonathan Rowe is basically because he rejected us last year, and also he's at Prison FC. It's quite hard to like anyone that's at Prison FC. Just wondering why we've not got James Justin deal done if it was going to happen. I don't know, I'll be honest with you. I thought that one was going to get across the line relatively quickly, and then it just sort of didn't, which is a bit weird. I'm not quite understanding what's going on there. But it's one to keep an eye on, I think. I think he does the job on both wing-back flanks, but if things are getting a little bit... Okay, he did also injure Rodrigo, so that's kind of on him. But on the Vinicius Tobias front, I think he's probably a better player than James Justin, and we might be looking at it as, if we can get this fantastic Brazilian right-back, or James Justin, it might be looking at the fantastic Brazilian right-back, and then if it comes to it, go to James Justin. But I don't know. What do you think of Mitrovic? Personally, I'd like him in. I think not the best things about Mitrovic, I've got to be honest with you. His numbers in the Saudi League look pretty good. However, you need to account for the fact that at most a Saudi club can have 5 non-Saudi players in it at any one time, which means that at any one time, at least 6 of the players that he's against are going to be from Saudi Arabia, and they are not very good, which is a bit of a problem. So he's basically been able to stat pad in that league. If you have a look at his stats before that, he did very, very well in the Championship, but when it came to the Premier League, you could see that his numbers relatively dropped off a cliff. And then beyond that, as far as I can tell, he seems a bit of a twat. That's kind of it. They can have 8. Oh, 8. Okay, I thought it was just 5. Okay. But either way, a lot of it is Saudi defences. Outside the 4 state-owned sides, there's not a lot of depth of quality. He was okay in this country. He does know where the net is and knows the Premiership. I don't know. It's weird because at the same time I could come back to you and go, Pat Bamford knows the league, because in his one fit season in the league he did really well, but I'm not even going to disagree with you when it comes to Bamford isn't the answer right now. Plus there's these wages, like he was on like 400 grand a week or something stupid like that. Let's not do that. Maybe not. I don't think we got the cash for that. And even if he's like happy to cut his wage demands, that's still a hell of a lot of money. Am I free for a space on X after this stream? I'm afraid I'm not. I have planned to have a little bit of fun and play some of the Battlefield 6 beta, because I played it a little bit earlier. It's a very, very good game. It's a return to form for the Battlefield series. But I can't do that whilst also on Twitter space, so sorry. There we go. Bamford's best season, 17 goals. Mitrovic's 14. Bosh. Thank you, Lee, for a stunning argument that I will be relying on for the rest of the window. Anytime anyone says the term Mitrovic to me. Silence is not golden, it's pure pain knowing nothing. I know. Day after day, I'm like, right, okay, so, gonna make a video. Gonna do a stream. What do I do my stream on? Fuck, nothing's happened. And it's sort of like, okay, as much as it's annoying that agents are doing leaks and other clubs are doing leaks, it means that there's something to talk about, you know? It means that there's something to chat rather than shit. But then again, like, I kind of pride myself on chatting shit. That's kind of what I do best on these streams. Has Captain Joe got a flight booked? I mean, I wish, because those flight tracking streams are really nice and chill, and it's just sort of like, let's sit back, let's relax, and let's just watch something fly. And there's nothing, and I don't mind that because there will be stuff going on in the background. Everyone's like, "Oh, Adam Underwood's doing nothing." And it's like, well, he is. Come on, let's take a moment to like think and just parse things in our head and go, actually, maybe the guy that's done 7 transfers already, and we know of at least 4 players that we are linked to, is probably a little bit busy. It's just not coming out in the public eye. And I really prefer it that way. By a long shot. Farka has to win against Evan. I don't think he does. I think that's a hell of a shout. Like, the amount of people that are just desperate for, like, if he doesn't win against Everton, oh, he doesn't deserve a job anymore. Like, what? It's one fucking result, man. You don't need to be that desperate for someone to lose their job. Like, it feels a bit sad. That's the first thing that people jump to. I will admit, currently scrolling through Mallorca Airport's incomings list. To see if there's anything private from Leeds. It's not looking like it. And if it were coming from anywhere, it would be coming from Leeds. Maybe he's on a Jet2 flight. You know? There's 2 Jet2 flights tomorrow morning. Maybe we're not even getting him a private jet. Maybe that's the approach we're taking on this one. There's a Ryanair as well, maybe. I'm at midday tomorrow now. It would be so much easier checking departures from Leeds Bradford, wouldn't it? That would be, yep. Thanks, mate. Right, departures. Cool. I believe it's Palma de Mallorca. Of which there is Ryanair. Oh. I might have found one. Gang. I might have fucking found one. There's a private jet to Mallorca at 4 PM tomorrow. That's interesting. Is that stream worthy? Is the real question. Do you guys want a stream on it? Is another real question. I don't know. I'm gonna pop a 1 in the chat if you want to do a Jet Watchy stream tomorrow. Just so I can gather a little bit of interest and see if people fancy it. You Jet Watch it? Yes, I can be when there's shit all else happening. That's not 0 interest. It wouldn't be on a Jet2. If not incomings, then no. I mean, it'd be nice to sort of get rid, you know? Who could the flight be for? It'd be getting rid of Matteo Joseph. We can't watch Matteo. Yeah, you've got a point. I'll see what's going on, and then I'll see if it's worth doing. If there's anything that is like stream worthy beforehand in the day, then I won't do it. But if it's feeling like a dead, empty day, then maybe not. I'd rather go with Morecambe than Betis. I agree. But Mallorca's fine. You never know, club might have said make your own way there if you... Yeah, but at the same time, even if he's making his own way there, he could get his own flight. Like, private jets, and this is going to sound stupid and out of touch or whatever. But for footballers, ain't that expensive. So if I just private jet Leeds to Mallorca. Book a private flight. From Leeds to Palma. No, oh wait, yeah, Palma de Mallorca. We'll say it's got one person in it, and we'll book it for tomorrow at 4:30, because that's roughly when it is. Give me some damn quotes. Oh shit. I don't want them to my email. I just want an instant quote. I don't want you to email me. About £10,000 by the looks of it, which I think he would just pay. But I don't know. Joe Wedman just posted a picture of Joseph in an airport. Did he? Shit. Oh no. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there he is, in an airport. Oh, he's next to a Jet2 sign as well. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, we could genuinely find that flight. Because he's next... Yeah. Why isn't he going private? He's got the choice to. What is he doing? Okay, so that's today. Oh, no, it's departed. Hold on. Ah, let me log in. Come on, log me in. F11 and cool. Right, hang on. There we go. Oh wait, shit. Where's my camera gone? No camera selected. There we go. Ah! That's not right, is it? Hang on. Oh shit. So if I then go to here, hello friendos. Joe, stay away from the light, I refuse. Shit, that's not better. What's going on with this? Sod it. We're going to this one. Okay, casual flight tracking stream. Oh god, where's everything gone? Right, that goes there. That goes there. Nice. Right, okay. Surprise flight tracking. +3 new targets. There we go. Welcome in to the surprise flight tracking of Matteo Joseph landing in Mallorca. Estimated to land in around 10-11 minutes. and that'll do it, you know. Elmi, you are literally just taking his post-match interview from Villarreal out of context. He's saying that the squad isn't quite ready yet, and he said that knowing that more deals would be done. Why were you saying, Joe, stay away from the light anyway? Don't know. But I'm surprised that he's Jet 2ing it. Why is he Jet 2ing it? In fact, is there a let's do a check. Let's do a check. Is there a Mallorca airport webcam? I don't think so. Which is kind of a shame. So if anyone lives in Alcudia or Soler, that would be absolutely lovely, and we'll do the thing where we watch it just glide on in. We're ignoring that. Crazy being a Leeds fan for 35 years. So why are you saying that you wish Leeds luck? Like, surely that's... I don't wish my own club luck. That feels like an odd thing to do. I don't know why. It feels like a thing that you do to other clubs because you just sort of roll with it yourself, right? Yeah, but at that point, Amiri wasn't a Leeds player. He was just a potential candidate, you know? But I don't know. Much better to try to hijack the plane. It's armed rail Betis militants. Whatever will we do? Don't know. Run in fear. Get a bit spooked. Who knows? No, I reckon we'll be fine. Throw out the window. Where is this airport? Is it that one? Yeah, it's that one. So I think we'll be coming around over the island and eventually heading in that general direction, which would be quite nice. I do appreciate the wordplay there, Josh. I'm not going to repeat it for the sake of the YouTube algorithm, but just know that I think that's a firm 10 out of 10. Football creators do a great job bringing us information about likely transfers more factual than papers and social media. I would say more factual than social media purely because the reason that creators are in the position that creators are in is because we have taken the time to like get rid of the crap sources and make sure that everything is a little bit more like clear and that we understand what's going on, which social media doesn't. Social media is just a bunch of different people saying things into a void, and then whatever gets the most engagement gets pushed, and that tends to not lead to the best possible outcomes. Against papers, that kind of depends on your paper. I think then some news websites I would agree because they're not actual news websites, they are just reliant on clicks. In the same way that like a YouTuber is reliant on clicks because at the end of the day, ad revenue is the big thing. But ad revenue is also a thing that is earned. Like you get an audience through time and effort and making sure that the stuff that you put out is like good stuff. Whereas this is different. It's I don't know how to phrase it. It's tough. But I believe we are maybe on the approach now, which is quite nice. Private jets are overrated, nothing like a soggy ham and cheese toasty. That's the thing. On a private jet, are you even getting catering? No, because you probably have to get it yourself. Because it's a private jet. So, bish bosh bosh. There we go. Shposh bosh bosh. And a splosh. Don't know why I said undersplosh, but it's interesting to say splosh, isn't it? We miss those kind of players, including Yeboah. I don't know what you mean by those kind of players, though, because like the reason that you will look back on a Hasselbank and a Yeboah is that it's been a while, and it's like distant in the past, and you've got the opportunity to build that idea of nostalgia towards those players, where you don't have that nostalgia for an Anton Stack yet. You don't have that for anyone else yet. It's just sort of, because they were in the past, you view them better. But that doesn't mean that they were better or especially different, you know? It's a little bit of weird variance in how football works. He's helping the environment. No, I'm going to find a way to make everything bad for Matteo Joseph because I want to assume the worst of him. Because he's being rude to my football club. See you later, Tony. Thank you for popping along. Anyone we could bring back from Spain, I take that Rafinha fella heard good things about him. Oh, I mean, I've heard the occasional good bit. But I don't know. Thoughts on the third kit? I don't know yet. It's one where I'd need to see it on before making any judgment, because I think it's quite nice. I just don't know if it's like up there as one of the good kits, you know? A little bit complex. Do you think the Leeds new signings are an upgrade on when Leeds recruited new players when they were last in the Premier League? Koch and Llorente, I think Biol is probably better than both. And Bornau is probably better than one of them. So I'd say we're doing better in that position. Gudmundsson versus we didn't sign anyone for that position. We'll say Firpo. Don't know yet. We're not gonna know. In midfield, who the hell did we sign in midfield in that first year? Did we sign anyone in midfield in that first year? No. Rodrigo, we didn't really sign an equivalent. So it's quite hard to compare. They're very, very different windows. Because we've got very, very different needs in the squad. Pirro's going to surprise a few this season. He's on a mission to prove he can do it in the Premier League. I think he can. I have admittedly changed my mind on this. But Rocker came later. He wasn't that first window. I'm just basing it on the first of the windows. And Rocker didn't play under Bielsa. Off the top of my head, at the very least. Please, Santa, bring me a third kit shirt now. Oh, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? Who's on the plane? It's Matteo Joseph going away. And potentially not coming back. And I wouldn't have a particular issue with that. Because he was mean to my football club. Therefore, we no longer enjoy Matteo. He can be gone. Right, how far out are we? Well, I hope we land soon because there's the sea on the other side of the airport and that could be a little bit of a problem. But we're definitely coming down. This is where like the radar from the plane just stops. It's been like, I don't know, shot down by Real Betis fans. Who are like, no, you said you'd come to us. You got no choice now. We didn't want you to have him, so there. Oh, we got a bit lumpy. Why is that runway got a vertical slope on it? That feels like that's not how runway should work. Ah, very nice. I like it. But as we slowly work our way into the runway, it looks like we're going to land a little bit too early, which is quite funny. Rumour has it he claps when the plane lands. He definitely claps when the plane lands. He claps when the plane lands, but then he's the first one to stand up, as if that's going to get him off the plane any quicker. He also gets priority boarding, as if that's going to get him to like set off any sooner. I like that we've got this perception of Matteo Joseph now. Oh, oh, up we go. Levitating. That's not how planes work. There we are. No, the plane won't crash into that. It'll magically levitate somehow. Anyway, with Matteo Joseph now being on the island of Mallorca for a year's worth of holiday and low quality football, because Mallorca, not that great, I'm going to bring the stream to a close there. So, hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please pop a like upon the stream. It's massively appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't yet. That is, again, genuinely fantastic. Helps the channel sort of keep on going and all this kind of stuff. Or you could be a channel member. It's $2.99 a month. Get a bunch of videos early. It's quite nice. All that fun stuff. I'm going to see if there's anyone set up a redirect to, just because that's quite fun. I'm going to chuck you in Joe Wayman's direction, but I'm not streaming until he's live. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the stream to a close. It's going to redirect you over to Joe Wayman. What I'm going to recommend we all do is we all go over and we just, without context, don't say it's like a Joe B raid or anything, or don't say the word raid. Just pop in the single word cheese and pop a like on the stream. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. In fact, do I wait until the likes hit 100? Because they're at 94 at the minute and I can't decide. Maybe. I don't know. Jack starts in 20. Jack doesn't have redirect external, so I can't redirect over to 96 likes. Ooh, it's going in the right direction at the very least. Nah, I've said it. It'll hit 100 after I end the stream anyway, so it's all good. Never mind, 101. Thank you guys. You're all lovely. Anyway, I'm going to end the stream there. I hope you all enjoyed. Again, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll head over to Wayman's stream and we'll just drop the word cheese. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Ta-ra.